All right. Hey, what's up, family? This is Rayno Victor. Welcome back to the show. Man, today we're in for a treat. We got the one, the only, the amazing Frankie Lubin in the house.
Yes, sir, man. It's awesome to be here, bro. I appreciate it. For
Yes,
real.
sir, man. Look, I'm going to tell you how I met Frankie. So, as you know, I joined this group called the Next Level Speakers Academy. And you can tell by the name, Frankie is a speaker. He's an amazing man of God, but most importantly, he is someone who, when we first connected on Zoom, bro, we talked a lot about faith, family, just life. And
Yeah.
I love those conversations with people. And of course, it wasn't recorded, but now the audience gets an opportunity to get insight, a little taste of really these type of conversations that I have with my friends. And so, Frankie, before we start, could you just simply introduce yourself, tell them who you are, and tell them just a little bit of what you're doing to get 1% better every single day?
My name, as he said, my name is Frankie Lubin. I go by Mr. Made Different on all social platforms. I'm from the island of St. Lucia. Been in America since 2008, right before Obama became president. So seeing the transition from they're saying they'll never have a black president to seeing Obama become president was kind of like pivotal, coming into that space and just like, whoa, this can really happen. So that made me never limit what I could do in this world. So coming here, I had a lot of dreams, and I'm just been chasing them since 2008, man.
That's what's up, man.
And what I do to get 1% better every day, I would say just being consistent in everything that I'm trying to accomplish. That's to me that's the most difficult part, because you have to be consistent when you losing. You got to be consistent in your failure. You got to be consistent in when you win. The days that you don't want to, you just got to be consistent. And whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever you're trying to achieve, and that's how I do, get my 1% better every day, brother.
Man, that's what's up, Frankie, man. One time I heard Frankie quote me when he made a post on social media, man.
One of my boys, man, shout out to Rayno Media. He always say, how can I get 1% better every day? 1% better every day. I'm not trying to be 100% better every day. I want to be 1% better every day.
He literally has like the same setup. He's got the headphones on. He's got a microphone.
Yep.
And Frankie, before we even get into the 1% interview, I also want to ask, like, you've got a platform, right, where you talk about positive things. And so could you tell people what that platform is and why you decided, hey, every day I'm going to get up and I'm going to share something positive? Like one day he shared, man, my boy Rayno, he always shares, get 1% better every day. And he had like these little clips. Like, so what's your motivation for sharing positive content and sharing and trying to get 1% better at that?
Man, I started this journey, man, 2023. I started doing videos because my wife told me she was pregnant. Not too long after I started doing videos, my mindset was just to create something that my kids could one day watch. I wasn't doing it for the world. I was doing it for my kids. I was like, let me just make these videos so they can at least understand how their father thought, the thought process behind is what he did and what he was trying to accomplish. Because I think about, not being here. It's just crazy. But I think about my mortality a lot, because that's just not guaranteed to you. You're not guaranteed to wake up in the morning. You're not guaranteed to make it home at night. So that was the onset of me just making videos for them every day. And then people started being like, man, I like your podcast. And I was like, it's not a podcast. I'm just speaking on camera and posting it just to have it saved somewhere. So it's not all on my phone.
Yeah.
And I just continue, man. I just continue doing it every day. Most, I would say I started a process where I wake up every morning and just go outside and just talk to the camera, and God will put all these things on my heart. And I was just like, I would just say them. I edit it real quick and post it. And that's what I was doing every day. And then it turned into me was like, all right, well, how can I make this better? So I started doing long form, and then I'll chop it up. And then I would say from this year, 2025, I started doing lives every Wednesday. And I call it Words of Encouragement. That's the podcast. That's the official podcast, Words of Encouragement podcast. And for me, that kind of just solidified everything, bro. Because people were speaking it into my life, and I was refusing to accept the fact that it was a podcast. You know what I mean? Like I was like, nah, it's not, because I was really doubting myself at the time, and I think that's something that we all go through. We gonna doubt ourselves, but I was still putting the work in, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own. Just say it. I got a podcast, so yeah, follow the Words of Encouragement podcast. Social platforms, YouTube, you know, Instagram, we on there. And yeah, I started putting clips out, and I you know, people DM me sometimes and be like, man, I needed that word, or you know, those kind of things keep me going, because the numbers, you're doing something positive on social media, it's not you're not really gonna get too far, you know, so I don't focus on the numbers, I just focus on the impact.
I love what you said, bro. You said a whole lot right there. I think we have a similar journey in that sense. Like, so when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, I started off as a mission trip photographer.
Yeah.
I was taking pictures for specifically nonprofits. My mentor, he was a motivational speaker. I literally would follow him around so I can get better at speaking. That literally was my motivation. And so for a whole year, I worked for him for free. Shout out to Taurus Montgomery if you're watching this.
Yeah.
And that was my mindset too. You know, the same way you described, like I want to create content so that when other people found it, they could be encouraged. Essentially, and that's why I love the name your whole brand is Words of Encouragement. Like that was literally what I was on. I remember, if you go back to my channel, on my YouTube channel, look up Rayno Victor, Rayno Victor. You will find like old sermons that I preached. I was just posting stuff. Literally, it'd be random.
Yeah.
And when I start, you know, going around the city of Atlanta to talking about getting 1% better every day, wrote a book on it. People are like, same way you said, man, we love your podcast. And I'm like, man, I'm just doing interviews. Bro, like for real.
Yeah.
But
you're shooting your shot.
hey, it is a podcast.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think I agree with you, man. Like in terms of business, in terms of entrepreneurship, sometimes some of the greatest things that we, you know, stumble upon and that we do are from those 1% wins. You talked about getting up every single day, getting downloads from the Most High, and speaking that out loud. Like that is biblical.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, when God created the world, you know this, he literally spoke life into existence where there was none. And so I think the same exact process does happen in our content.
Yeah.
We have the ability to, and I hate to hog the mic right now on this point, but we have the ability to speak life over people digitally.
Yes.
This one microphone in this random place here in Atlanta is digitally connecting the sound and going through, and a lot of y'all listen to it on the phone. So it's going through this mic, through this audio system, through this camera, and through your phone, right? And so some of you may be watching on mobile, but the analytics are saying that like 98% of you are watching on 98% of you are watching on your phone. So I just want to say that, man, it's amazing that I'm speaking life to you where you are, and that you can do the same thing if you decide to become a media personality, because anybody can do it. All you gotta do is just purchase the equipment.
Yeah.
But the hard part is what it says on my shirt right here, is just getting 1% better at it every single day. So Frankie, man, I want to ask you, in terms of business, you are a speaker, correct?
Correct.
And so what is your speaking topics? I know you speak online. All of us are trying our best to get better at showing up online by creating content, podcast type content. But what are you doing for in-person sessions? Are you looking to get booked for speaking opportunities?
Oh yeah.
Like, and if so, what's like your ideal client if I were someone looking for a speaker?
I would say, man, you see it on my shirt, Made Different. They don't call me Mr. Made Different for no reason. My cousin said Mr. Different. So for me, it's just being yourself. Like, you know, in a world with so much noise, with so many people telling you this is the way you should move based on whatever it is, whatever their perspective on life is, this is how you should move, you know. And they people are so convicted of that they trying to convince you that you should move how they want you to move. And I think that, you know, though it might be good in some instances, you still have to make those decisions for yourself. Like, you have to be who God made you to be. You know, I always say, man, the person that I wanted to be is different from the person God created me to be. Those are two different individuals. And I had to make the decision to be like, all right, who am I going to be? Who am I going to follow? Am I going to follow my own thoughts and that's been leading me down the wrong path the whole time? Or am I finally going to just put down my own ego, put down my own pride, and follow God's path for me? And I think that's, for a lot of people, they struggle with that. You know, because it's not easy. You know, walking the path God called you to walk is not easy. Getting on camera and doing this and it's not easy, bro. You know, we make it look easy because we show up to get 1% better every day, but the journey is not easy. And you know, I just disregard everything that the world will put on you and tell you to be like, hey, be this way or do that, or you know, because I could get on social media and talk about anything, talk about all the things that's in the algorithm to boost my exposure, right? But I choose not to do that because everybody else is doing that. Like, I just want to be different. I don't want to talk about certain things, you know.
Come on.
Rest in peace, Charlie Clerk. He died last week. Everybody jumped on that. I was like, man, I'm not even gonna touch that. I don't know that man. You know, he got a family. Whatever he was talking about, whatever it is, that's not my business. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pray for his family, pray for his wife and kids. You know what I mean? That's all I could offer. I'm not gonna offer anything about his situation.
Gotcha.
And I think people will just love to just jump on whatever's trending, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm creating something that's gonna live on. You know, like I said, I'm creating this for my kids. That's the main objective. So when they get older, they could understand certain things in life, and whoever else it could help along the way.
That's good.
That's just icing on the cake.
That's good. I'm also thinking about, I mentioned ideal client, but it sounds like you're more thinking when you speak out into the world, you're speaking more from a legacy standpoint, not necessarily. So for instance, I'll say this. So if a client brought me in to speak to their organization, I'm speaking to the future version, or I'm speaking to my kids in a way, if you will. Is that what I hear? So like the advice I would give to my kids in the future, I would be given to that organization through the Mr. Made Different brand.
I would say that, you know, just being uniquely you know. And that could go for anybody, but I primarily focus on young men, you know, that's been where I was 2-3 years ago. You know, I'm not too far removed from what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like drinking and partying. I was doing a lot of that. And it's just like you searching for something. You're trying to fill that void every weekend. You be like, man, what's the turn up this weekend? What's the turn up to Friday? What's, you know? And I think we go through that process and we just like, but that's not fulfilling. You know, you do it, and then Monday comes around and you just like, man, I don't want to go throughout the week, and it's like, nah, there has to be more to life than just that.
Facts.
You know, there has to be more to life than just waking up, going through my phone, scrolling, looking at porn, looking at all these things, right? Going through that motion. And you're like, but that's still not fulfilling. I'm just wasting. I feel like I'm wasting away. And a lot of people, they're tired of that, but they don't know how to get out of that situation, you know? That's good. I think you could become 1% better, or you could become 1% worse. Wow. And 1% worse might look like just doing the same thing over and over. I'm just stagnant. You know, I went through a period of life, probably about 6-7 years, where it was just stagnant. Nothing was happening in my life. Nothing was changing. I feel like I was living the same year over and over again. The same months, the same things would kind of happen. Like, oh man, like, why am I going through this cycle? Repetitive cycle of the same thing. And to get out of that is quite difficult. So I just want to speak that into the people that's watching. Like, you can become 1% better every day. You just have to put the focus in. I'm going to do the things that's going to make me 1% better every day versus the things that's going to make me 1% worse.
That's good, man. And so when organizations bring you in, you're speaking on that. You're speaking on that on your platform. It sounds like you're speaking to the younger version of yourself.
Yeah.
And so I like to say this because how I grew up was that my dad, he didn't grow up with us in the home.
Yeah.
And I always say that I'm trying to become the man that I didn't have growing up. And so no knock to my dad when I say that. I love my dad. But the reality is there are some things that some of us may have missed out on, some information, right? Some wisdom that could have changed our situation. And so, Frankie, it sounds like when I tap in with you, that's basically what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for you, man. And also shout out to you being a good dad, man. I want you to talk about your family too. So what's this why that's so big? Because most guys, let's be honest, like you just mentioned, a lot of us are, you know, trying to overcome vices, right? We're trying to fight against all the negativity that's in this world.
Yeah.
But you decided to make a switch. I'm going to focus on legacy building. I'm going to focus on success. I'm going to focus on getting 1% better every day and leaving a positive mention. You mentioned 2023. But talk about the mindset shift for someone who may be in a similar place. Like, yo, I'm here, but Frankie, how do I get here so I can be an example for my family? So talk about that journey a little bit for us.
Man, I would say I think having a child was something I prayed for. You know, some people just have kids. Like, out the bat. They just go in there and they have kids, right? For me, it was a journey because it was like, I started questioning, can this happen to me? Like, you know, I heard that promise from God, like, yeah, it's gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen on the time that you think it's gonna happen.
And you mean having a kid?
Yeah.
So you didn't think you could have a kid?
I didn't think I could have. I didn't go to no doctor and get no test done, but I didn't think, you know, because I wasn't, for lack of a better term, I was practicing to have a kid, but it wasn't happening. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's either my wife or myself, you know.
Wow.
And it's crazy because my wife got pregnant the same month we found out she was pregnant. She lost her job.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Oh no.
She got on furlough. You know, she worked in the film industry, and they went on strike during that time, and you know, it kind of just downhill. But I was excited because I'm like, I always wanted a kid. So then I started thinking about, okay, well, I wasn't taking my life serious for myself or my wife. Yeah, I took it serious, but to take it to that next level, you have to have this thing where it's just that switch, like you said. Like what's gonna click inside of me? Like something else I gotta shift another gear. I gotta downshift to third gear and probably, you know what I'm saying? Like if you drive stick shift, whatever, you have to downshift to another level to be able to take it to the next level. So I had to really sit with myself and be like, well, I don't want to just tell my kids what to do. You know, I got to show them what to do. And that was really it, man. You know, there's the intrinsic, what is it? Intrinsic value where you it's inside of you.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, external. I had both. You know, I always wanted to achieve certain things, but once I had kids, it was like, man, you have to now. You don't have a choice. Because you could die tomorrow and just leave, you know, your wife behind. She'll get a little check. She'll be fine. But now you got kids. Like, you have to leave more than just finances for them. You have to leave, you know, a thought process, almost like your family Bible. You know, besides the Bible, you got to have, hey, this is how the family moves. This is how the family operates. And I think that's kind of the pivotal shift for me. But yeah, man, that was it.
No, that's really good. You know, when I think of the word father, I think of someone who's a leader. I think of someone who goes first, someone who goes the way, then shows the way. And this is actually so true for men, for a lot of men. It's when you have your first kid. Now, listen, I don't have a kid. I just want to put this out here. But I think that even when I'm thinking of legacy, I think about my potential kids that may be born in the future. Yeah. And I've even gone so far as, bro, my mindset changed when I was serving in the community as a mission trip photographer, and there were these kids that were hurting in front of me. And I kind of like, in my mind, I'm like, even though I don't have kids, I'm going to be a father figure. I'm going to be a positive role model, a big brother, right? Because I can't say that I'm their dad. But for some of these kids, they didn't have a positive black male figure in particular who was around them. And so just being a part of that community for people, saying, you know what, I'm going to be a father to the world. If I see a kid who's hurting, who don't have something, like, I'm going to try to speak life over this kid. He may not even ask me to do it, but having the mindset of not only am I to be intentional of the kids that I don't have right yet, but also these kids that are around me right now. Yeah. A lot of them don't grow up with their dads, like similar to how I did. And so it's like, yo, I know that pain. I know what it feels like. And so how can I be the father, even for these kids that I didn't have? Yeah. And so I think it's a powerful thing because, yo, you literally are walking into fatherhood. You just give birth. I'm sorry. Your wife gives birth to a kid, and then you literally said she was laid off. And before the kid even comes out, you saying, you know what? I'm going to show up every day to be an example to these little guys right here. And so, man, that's just a powerful idea. That's a powerful concept. Because I think you're right. Just the idea of fatherhood, the idea of leadership, it motivates me. And I don't even have a kid. And so I'm just...
Start early, man. Yeah. I would say start before you had a kid. I wish I started way before that. You know, I had the thought process. I was working on a few things, but it just didn't put that engine behind. It didn't put that battery in my back until I had kids. And I would say for any man watching, if you don't have kids, you know, start before. Start laying the foundation way before. You know, until they come, and when they come, you have something, and you could even build more on it.
That's good.
You know,
that's good. And you are a father, and one of the things that I was really inspired by when you first shared your testimony with me, was you talked about getting baptized and the spiritual aspect and the faith element. Yeah. Why is it important for us as men to get 1% better in our relationship with God every single day?
Man, that question is so. It hit me. It give me chills when you ask that question because it's like the most important thing you could do is to build your relationship with Jesus Christ. Like that's the most important thing you could do. Just because it gives you understanding of who you are. Because like I said before, the world gonna tell you who you are, what you should do, how you should move, how you should operate. But building that relationship with Jesus is the best thing that can happen to you in life. You know, because think of it, if Adam had went to God, you know, while the serpent was talking to Eve and whatever, he probably wouldn't have eaten that fruit. You know what I mean? Like
that's good.
If he had the understanding of who God was, he wouldn't have. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have ate the fruit. Like, and I think that's you see a lot of men go through so many things. You know, the men that we look up to. You know, not to name anybody, but there's successful men that we look up to where they're financially successful, they have a platform, they have all these things, but they have this lack of discipline, whether it's sexual discipline, whether it's something, there's just something missing. And I think that could get a hold of you because you start feeling like you're a God. You know what I mean? You start feeling like you're a God. So you like, man, I don't need to go to God because I already know how God wants me to move, right? But I think to humble yourself before the Father, man, is you know, as a father, I look at it from the perspective of, yeah, I don't want my kid to do everything that I want her to do. I want her to be herself. But in the times where she finds things to be difficult, I do want her to come to me, you know, and it's the same thing. I think the same thing God wants from us, where life, you know, gives you, what they say, life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. You know, you got to go to the Father and ask for some sugar. You got to ask for some, hey, God, provide the water. I already got the lemonade, I already got the lemons, provide the water and the sugar so I can make this lemonade. You know,
that's good. I like the idea of going to the Father. Right, I'm going to say this because I believe that we are a reflection. Our relationship with God is like a cup. So imagine that this is a cup right here, bro. Right, and you're filling it up with water. Your overflow from that water will flow into smaller cups that are beside you, and so our relationship with God will overflow into the other aspects of our life. And so I think you're absolutely correct. Our relationship with God the Father will affect us. Even if you don't have kids, it will help you to show up as a better man. Yeah, it will help you to show up as a better human. And but also to the women watching as well, I want to say that it will help you to show up in your queenness, right? In how God has called you to be inside your royal stature as well. So, man, that's really good, man. I love everything you point out, but I see this theme of fatherhood and getting 1% better in your faith and being made different, man. Like even that name, man, I see like God shaping Adam in the Garden of Eden and making him, setting him apart for a royal work, man. I'm just like, man, I just see a lot of success. I see a lot of principles with everything you've shared so far. But before we leave, man, could you tell people how they could find you? Because I know you're posting a lot of content. I know you're sharing a lot of words of encouragement, and you got a chance to interview various people. Yeah. If I were someone who didn't know you, how would I get in touch with you to listen to the content that you're putting out, man?
Mr. Made Different on all platforms. That's MR period Made Different on all platforms. You could check me out on there, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I post all my content on there. YouTube got the podcast, words of encouragement. But I also post shorts on there as well. So yeah, man, that's where you can find me. It's a pleasure to do this, not just because of a ego standpoint, like I'm trying to, make myself into something, but more so just to kind of impact the world, man. I think the world need more people that's impacting versus just kind of just taking. Everybody just taking from the world, and it's like, man, you got to put back in. You got to put something back into the world, man. And I just want to be that light, that beacon of positivity. Because I know people need it. It's a lot of negative. I speak negative about myself at times, but I push through and understand that just being positive in my thought process could outweigh the negativity, just
Man, literally, that's why I created Media Victor Pro. That's the name of my company. We're a content creation agency, and I say this: we create content that leaves this world better than we found it.
Yeah.
And so there's so much negative content out there. And so that's why my ideal client is, for my media company, we love to record sermons for speakers. We like to record positive messages. So if you are a motivational speaker, someone who is a content creator, and you need potentially a consulting session or something like that, feel free to hit us up. Contact me. You can look us up here on the Get 1% Better Everyday podcast. You can get on here and share what you're doing to get 1% better to inspire the planet. But also, man, I think for me, I want to just continue to do this because, like you said, like, we're gonna die. Like, Frankie, everybody's gonna die.
I think people fail to realize that one day they're not going to be here no more. And you got to think about, I think about that every day that I wake up. I'm like, man, it could have been my last. You know, when I leave home, I'm like thinking, like, am I going to come back? You know what I mean? And that's just, so I make sure I kiss my girls. I make sure I kiss my wife. And that's just being real, bro, because nothing is guaranteed. My grandma always used to say, nothing under the sun is promised, you know. You're not, there's no guarantee that you're going to make it to the next day, you know. And people live like, yeah, I'm going to make it to next week. People planning out all these things. All that's good. But that's the final word is with God, you know. I'm pretty sure anybody that's not here no more, they had plans to make it to the next day. And they're not here no more, so.
Yeah. And to that point, man, I just want to say that's why we need to be getting 1% better every day, guys.
Yeah, stay consistent, man.
Stay consistent. So if you're a speaker, a coach, a pastor, whoever you are, right, and you're in a similar lane as we are, right, and you want to say, hey, you know what, man, I know I'm going to die, and I know there's a message that God has put in my heart that I got to put out there. Record that sermon, put it up, right? Maybe it's inside your physical health. I need to be working out, right? Maybe it's, for some of you, it's your family, right? Maybe you're a father, you're a mother, you're like, how can I get 1% better? Just keep asking yourself that question. Yeah. Spend time with God in the morning and ask him, what can I do to get 1% better every day, so that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when God calls your name, he can say, well done, and my good and faithful servant, because you were faithful in getting 1% better. So Frankie, man, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, bro, man. Look.
For sure, man. Anytime, bro. Just hit me. I'm here, bro. I'm here for you, man.
Oh, for sure, man. And
I want to say this, though. You inspire me, bro, because I see you doing the push-ups. I see you doing, the book release. I'm like, man, I got to do a book release. My birthday next month. I was like, I got to finish my book. I probably won't make it to my birthday, but I'm like, just seeing you do that, it inspired me to be like, I need to do something similar to that. Call it biting, whatever. I don't care. I'm just like, this man inspired me. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna steal that. You know what I mean, look, man. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, look, and blessings to you guys.
Yes,
have a great day, and remember, keep getting 1% better every
sir.
single day. All right, we'll talk to y'all later.
Peace.